when you're preparing a presentation, do you normally prepare alone or in a group? Who prepares in a group? Nobody. Sometimes. But would you say mainly you prepare alone? Just as a matter of interest, when you have to prepare a presentation, how many people begin more or less immediately by opening the computer and opening PowerPoint and making slides? No, nobody. Sorry. The question is, when you have to prepare a presentation, how many of you start by opening the computer, sitting down with PowerPoint and designing different slides?
Yes.
Oh yes, yes, everyone. Okay, so I'm going to try to persuade you that's a really bad idea. Okay? And that opening the computer is not until later, much later. So, you use a computer. Okay. First of all, brainstorming rules. Okay, I'm going to talk about brainstorming. Brainstorming, when you find out you have to make a presentation and you just think, I've got so many ideas, how to brainstorm. Brainstorming is usually done is normally done in groups. But it's possible to do brainstorming alone also. I'm just going to give you some tips for brainstorming. Do you do brainstorming in MSA? Yeah? What happens in a brainstorming session? Can you describe to me, where do you do it?
When we have to find a way of doing something, we start by saying what the first things that appear to our heads.
Mm-hmm.
There's first of all a clear question.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody can say what they want.
Mm-hmm.
And the rules.
Is there a time for that, or do you?
Well, what I usually do is I see a curve, and when I see that ideas are going down,
Yeah.
if we think we have material.
And how do you record or grab the ideas?
Write them down.
You write them down. Who writes them down?
If it's a long session and a lot of people, in terms.
In terms. Okay. Any other things that you do in brainstorming?
Well, we do brainstorming, but for example, in this kind of presentation we do because it's specific, it's not general, to draw attention from the audience, what do they know about the presentation? Let's say, in our case, it's something that people don't care about. Or they care, but they think it's not their job to do it. So we just start by a couple of minutes saying, what do you think is
So again, the question is important.
yeah.
The question. Okay, I'm going to, more or less, I'm going to give you some tips on brainstorming. Again, if it's in a group, really useful, but this can also do on your own, okay? So the first one is withhold judgment. No juzgar. Lo que sale. This is really, really important. Brainstorming is about quantity, not quality. If people start thinking about quality, they become self-conscious. They think, oh, I have a crazy idea, but I would look stupid, and they don't say it. So, withholding judgment. I don't know if any of you like to write or creative writing, but there's an exercise for writing, which is you take the computer, and when you just want to write as many ideas as you can, you take your laptop and you put a piece of paper over the screen. You don't look at the screen, and you just write, because you don't want to criticize what you're writing. Not the grammar, and then at the end, take away the piece of paper and you look. Okay? So, withhold judgment. The second is encourage wild and exaggerated ideas. Be crazy, tell me something, we want to open the new MSF canteen, and we want someone important to come. Bring Barack Obama. Ask Barack Obama to open, just any crazy idea, and later we can criticize it. As I said, it's quantity, not quality. You can do that very simply by saying, we have post-its. This is the size. We need to cover this with post-its in 5 minutes. It's like a competition. So you write, okay? So it's quantity, not quality. Build on the ideas of others. That means you go into brainstorming with a generous spirit. You want to help other people express themselves. And hopefully they will help you. So you say, I've got this idea, I'm thinking about what's difficult to explain. It's like I see a colour and I see a place, and tell me more. Where do you see it? Facilitate other people's ideas. This can be very important in organizations, hierarchical organizations. If you do brainstorming with your boss or with the employees, there's no bosses in brainstorming. Just because you're the boss doesn't mean your idea is better. So every person's idea has equal worth. This is my own advice, tip for brainstorming, which is go someplace you don't normally go to do your brainstorming. If you always go to the same room, go to Bar London to do your brainstorming with a pint. Go to Parque Cittadella. Go someplace you don't normally go, and the new surroundings generate ideas. So you have Dali in the back. The most important thing about brainstorming is you go analog. You don't use a computer for brainstorming, whether it's in a group or whether it's alone. Even if you're alone, people try to brainstorm alone and they've used the computers, and there's lots of software for brainstorming like mind mapping and outliners and this and that. But a computer is nothing like post-its or paper and a pen. A pen and paper, you don't think to write. I've got an idea, and you stick. When I'm on the train and I have an idea, I have a notebook, I take it out and I write. If your tool for brainstorming is a computer, the interface gets in the way. I love this software. I love like this Macintosh and the software and mind mapping. So if I use the computer for brainstorming, the first thing I think is, which program will I use? Will I use Microsoft Word, or will I use mind mapping? And then I'm thinking, with the mouse, it's just not natural. Okay? So use paper and pens for brainstorming.